Sitting by the resting place of his dearest friend, Shunsui notes that the rebuilding of Soul Society is almost complete. Fix one more road section and they'll be done for the time being. He remarks that it took 10 years, but they bounced back fairly well from that disaster. He is then interrupted by Nanao, who urges him to hurry and head over to the 1st Division barracks, as they don't have any more time, prompting Shunsui to comment that he is still not used to how busy a head captain is. Now he knows how great Old Man Yama was. Before leaving, he tells Ukitake that he'll stop by again. Meanwhile, Mayuri oversees the completion of the brand new Research and Technology Department. He notes that West 55 is finally completed. It took them long enough, but he can finally expand his secret network across all of Soul Society. He prepares to do the field survey with his newest lab assistant, Namuri Hachigo. As Kid Nemu comes running and shouting, "Yes, sir!" Mayuri tells her to keep her voice down, wondering how she ended up like that. Elsewhere, all 11th Division members consecutively ask their captain how his day was, prompting him to rebuke them. He tells them to shut up as it's still the middle of the day. He doesn't know what kind of day it is yet. The subordinates apologize and then consecutively start telling him to have a nice day. Ikkaku then asks Kenpachi if they're going the right way since they should be heading toward 1st Division barracks. However, Kenpachi asserts that 13's in charge, so it's at 13th Division barracks. Ikkaku tries to confirm with Yumichika, but he states that he doesn't know. He's only the 3rd seat. Kenpachi tells Ikkaku that he used to get lost a lot only because of Yachiru. Now that she isn't here, there's no way he'll get lost. Ikkaku again looks at Yumichika, who says that he completely agrees with the captain. Kenpachi then starts moving forward, telling Ikkaku and Yumichika not to fall behind. Shinji and Momo notice that the 11th Division is heading in the completely wrong direction. Momo says maybe they're lost, prompting Shinji to comment that nobody lost could be going that fast. Momo attempts to set them on the right course, but Shinji stops her, saying if they get involved with them, they'll be late too. As Momo tries to press, Shinji tells her there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're grown men. Let them handle themselves, asserting that it's a captain's order. Momo remarks that Shinji only says that when it's something totally meaningless. Shinji responds that they have different values. He doesn't say it when it's not called for. He uses it when he wants to. At the training grounds, Iba, now captain of the 7th Division, jumps a huge distance down a hill. His squad nervously shouts that they can't do it like him, so Iba tells them not to worry. They can just catch up to him later. He then bumps into Hitsugaya and Lieutenant Rangiku. Hitsugaya notes that Captain Iba is going to work from the training grounds and commends him for working hard every day. However, Iba merely responds that he's nowhere near captain material yet. He feels like if he skips a day, he won't be a captain anymore. Hitsugaya acknowledges this, saying it's very admirable and might be what it takes to be a captain. He wishes a certain somebody could hear that. Rangiku jokingly questions who that could be. Could it be Shuhei? The captain and lieutenant of the 9th Division suddenly show up. Kenzie confirms that Hitsugaya was referring to Shuhei and tells him to pay attention. Shuhei exchanges banter with Rangiku, saying he can't let that slide. Rangiku mocks him, pointing out that his captain agrees with them. Shuhei proudly asserts that he's already mastered bankai. Both Hitsugaya and Rangiku mock him, saying they haven't seen it yet and wonder if this is some kind of bankai con. Kenzie also joins them, saying he hasn't seen it either, shocking Shuhei, who claims that he knows Kenzie has seen it. He insists it's only because he hasn't had the chance to use it since then. Kenzie and Rangiku claim that Shuhei is making excuses now, prompting Shuhei to tell his captain to stop taking their side. Hitsugaya then remarks that the fact Shuhei hasn't had to use it for 10 years is a good thing. It means that for 10 years they've maintained peace. And to close out those 10 years, today's ceremony is quite fitting. Kenpachi finally arrives at the 1st Division barracks, only to be reprimanded by Sui Feng for being late. Kenpachi asserts that they took a lap around Soul Society. He'd say they made good time, all things considered. Sui Feng retorts, asking him why the hell he'd take a lap around Soul Society on an important day like today. The new captain, Isane, politely tells them to calm down. Lieutenant Kioni tells Isani not to be so intimidated by them. She's a captain too. But Isani asks how she cannot be. Shunsui then begins the ceremony to appoint a new captain to the 13 court guards. Nanao tells the newly appointed captain to enter. Renji looks at Rukia, telling her not to worry. If she twists her ankle from nerves, he'll carry her on his shoulders. With that, 13th Division Captain Rukia Kuchiki nervously walks in and confirms her presence. Back at the Shinigami Research and Development Institute, Akan wonders where Captain Mayuri is and assumes that since today is the new captain ceremony, the captain must have gone there. Hiyosu remarks that the captain went to survey the recovery zone. Akane asks why. Hiyosu replies that if he, the lieutenant, doesn't know, how should he? As Akane says that fine, he'll go get him. Hiyosu asks if something happened. Akane informs him that the instruments are picking up a strange reading. It's very similar to Yhwach's spiritual pressure from 10 years ago. Meanwhile, a young boy with orange hair is caught by Hiyori when he sneaks into her home, but he runs away before she can reach him. After the ceremony, Byakuya races toward the reported remnants of Yhwach's spiritual pressure. One of his subordinates informs Byakuya that the spiritual pressure reading, believed to be the remnants of Yhwach's power, is located in West 55, the last restoration section adjacent to 13th Division Barracks. Sui Feng then catches up to Byakuya and tells him that the 13th Division captain departed right after the ceremony, so she sent him out. Byakuya says that's fine. If Rukia and Renji haven't had time off in a while, there's no need to contact them. He'll take care of this. They then reach Mayuri, who is surprised as he hadn't relayed any information to the two of them. Sui Feng tells him not to underestimate the secret police's intelligence network, while Byakuya states that since Mayuri is here, he assumes the information they received was accurate. Mayuri only responds that they will soon find out for themselves as a large mass of Yhwach's spiritual pressure manifests in front of them. Meanwhile, in the human world, Rukia and Renji arrive at the Kurosaki clinic, and Ichigo greets them. Rukia makes fun of Ichigo for the lack of customers at his clinic. Ichigo comments that it's a good thing when a hospital is empty and tells her to just shut up and come in. Keigo greets Rukia, telling her to make herself at home, but gets punched by Tatsuki, who tells him it isn't his house. Mizuiro also greets Rukia, commenting that her hair is longer and that it looks good. Karin and Yuzu then arrive with popcorn and soda, happily greeting Rukia as well. Rukia comments that it has been a long time, noting how much the two have grown. Karin races to the couch and tells Ichigo to hurry up as a world heavyweight title boxing match featuring Chad is about to begin. As they watch Chad on the screen, Keigo notes that Chad ended up becoming the most famous out of all of them. Meanwhile, Dr. Uryu Ishida takes an extended break on the roof of the doctor's office where he works to watch Chad's match. His fellow doctors reveal to each other that since he couldn't go out and meet his friends, this was the next best thing he could do. Back at the Kurosaki clinic, Ichigo calls Orihime to the TV. She comes into the den as Ichigo asks where their son, Kazui, is. Orihime says that he should be upstairs and informs Ichigo that, according to Tsubaki, Kazui was just at Hiyori's place. Yuzu tells Ichigo that Kazui is probably in his room. He likes being in there. Ichigo wonders if she's fine with this since it's her room now. Yuzu says, "Of course, Kazui is always welcome." Karin comes closer to Yuzu and teases her, saying she's fine because Kazui is the spitting image of Ichigo. Wait, what? What kind of nonsense is that? Well, it's Japanese, so no surprise there. Anyway, Ichigo then questions Rukia and Renji if they brought their child as well. Rukia states that she was given a travel permit for the summer to bring her along after she became a court guard cadet. However, their daughter is nowhere to be found, but Rukia is flippant about it, claiming she's a Shinigami, no human's going to hurt her. Ichigo, outraged, tells Rukia that her daughter picks fights with humans and urges her to go find her. Meanwhile, Kazui sees a dark ball on the wall of Yuzu's room brimming with Yhwach's spiritual pressure. Inside Soul Society, the Shinigami prepare for the mass of spiritual pressure to attack, while Kazui reaches in and touches the spiritual pressure in front of him. Right then, the mass of spiritual pressure completely vanishes, shocking the Shinigami. As he sits bound inside Muken, Aizen realizes that the last remnants of Yhwach's power have completely disappeared. He remembers when Yhwach was defeated 10 years ago. As he died, Yhwach told Ichigo that the path had been sealed, the path to a world without fear. The living world, the Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, they all should have become one. Life and death were meant to be combined as one. But that can no longer be, thanks to Ichigo. How disappointing. Because of him, life and death will retain their shapes. All that has life will continue to live in constant fear of death now, forever. In the present, Aizen reflects that fear certainly would not have existed in the world Yhwach wished for. But in a world without the fear of death, people will not search for hope. People will persist simply by being alive. But persistence while fending off fear is something entirely different. That is why people have a special name for it. They call it courage. While Ichigo and Rukia argue, a red-haired girl emerges from a dark orb behind Kazui and introduces herself as Ichika Abarai, a Shinigami cadet. Kazui then introduces himself and reveals that he is a Shinigami as well, transforming into one, shocking Ichika. With that, the 1000-year Blood War arc comes to an end. Let's see when the Hell arc begins. In the meantime, check out other manga here.